Today, I'm swapping lives with my sister, and I'm on a mission to uncover her husband's dark secret. My sister Sarah called me crying at 2 in the morning, 3 days before Christmas, begging me to swap lives with her for 1 week. Just 1 week, she said. I need to know if I'm crazy, if I'm imagining things. She wouldn't tell me what things. Wouldn't explain why her voice cracked like broken glass. Just kept repeating, "Please, Emily, I need someone I trust to see what I see." So I said yes. I moved into her perfect suburban home with the designer furniture and the husband who smiled too much. And on day 3, I found the locked drawer. On day 4, I found the key. And on day 5, I found proof that my sister wasn't crazy at all. She was in danger. Welcome to DramaCoda. This story will shake you to your core. Watch until the very end. Leave a like and rate this story 1 to 10 in the comments because what I'm about to tell you changed everything I thought I knew about my own family. Let me take you back to the beginning. To that phone call that woke me up in the middle of the night. I was sleeping in my tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn when my phone started buzzing on the nightstand. The screen lit up the dark room. Sarah, my big sister, calling at 2:17 in the morning. My heart dropped into my stomach because Sarah never called me that late. Never. She was the responsible one. The one who went to bed at 9:30 and meal prepped on Sundays and had her life together in ways I could only dream about. I grabbed the phone. "Sarah, what's wrong?" And that's when I heard it. The sound of my sister trying not to sob, trying to hold it together and failing. "Emily," she whispered, and her voice was so small, so broken, that I sat straight up in bed. "I need your help. I need you to do something for me, and I need you not to ask questions until after you do it." My mind was racing. Was she hurt? Was someone hurting her? "Sarah, you're scaring me. What's going on?" She took a shaky breath. "I need you to swap lives with me. For 1 week. I need you to come live in my house, pretend to be me, and I need to disappear for a little while. Just 7 days. Please." I thought she was having some kind of breakdown. "Sarah, that's crazy. What are you talking about? What about Marcus? What about your job?" "Marcus doesn't pay attention to me anymore," she said quietly. "He wouldn't notice if I was gone. And I already told work I'm taking the week off for Christmas vacation. Emily, please. I'm begging you. I need someone I trust to see what I see. I need to know if I'm imagining it all or if something is really wrong." The desperation in her voice cut right through me. "What things, Sarah? What are you imagining?" She was quiet for so long I thought she'd hung up. Then she said, "I think Marcus is planning something. I don't know what. But I find him staring at me sometimes with this look in his eyes that makes my skin crawl. Things have gone missing from my jewelry box. Small things. Things he thinks I won't notice. He takes phone calls in the garage at weird hours. He's been asking me questions about my life insurance policy. About who would get the house if something happened to me. Emily, I'm scared. And I need to know if I'm paranoid or if my instincts are right." My blood went cold. That's when I knew this wasn't a breakdown. This was a cry for help. "Okay," I said. "Okay. I'll do it. When do we start?" "Tomorrow," she whispered. "Pack a bag. I'll send you everything you need to know." She hung up before I could ask anything else. And I sat there in my dark apartment, staring at the Christmas lights blinking on the building across the street, wondering what the hell I'd just agreed to. But here's what you need to understand about me and Sarah. We're not just sisters. We're identical twins. Same face, same voice, same mannerisms. Growing up, we used to switch places all the time. In school, on dates, at family dinners. It was our thing. Our secret superpower. No one could ever tell us apart. Not our teachers, not our friends, not even our own parents half the time. So the idea of swapping lives wasn't as crazy as it sounds. We'd done it before. Just never for a reason like this. Never because one of us was afraid of her own husband. The next morning, Sarah showed up at my apartment with 2 suitcases and a manila folder stuffed with papers. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was wearing a Yale sweatshirt and jeans, and she kept looking over her shoulder like someone might be following her. She came inside and locked the door behind her. Then she handed me the folder. "Everything you need is in here," she said. "Marcus's schedule, the alarm code, where I keep things, how I like my coffee, our neighbors' names, my routine. Study it. Memorize it. You have to be me, Emily. Completely." I opened the folder and started reading. Sarah's life was laid out in front of me like an instruction manual. Wake up at 6. Make Marcus breakfast. He likes his eggs scrambled with cheese, toast with butter, orange juice with pulp. He leaves for work at 7:30. He works at Brighton investment firm downtown. He's a senior analyst. Makes $400,000 a year. He comes home at 6 unless he has a client dinner. On Wednesdays, he plays basketball with his college buddies. On Fridays, he goes to the gym. It went on and on. Every detail of her daily life. And as I read it, I felt this weird sadness creeping over me. Because this wasn't a life. This was a schedule. A performance. Where was Sarah in all of this? Where was the girl who used to sneak out with me to concerts and laugh until we cried and dream about traveling the world? "Sarah," I said, looking up at her. "When was the last time you did something just for yourself?" She stared at me for a long moment. Then she looked away. "I don't remember," she whispered. That broke my heart. But I didn't have time to dwell on it because Sarah was already pulling out her phone, showing me photos of Marcus, reminding me of how he talked, how he moved, what made him suspicious. She was talking fast, like she was running out of time. And maybe she was. "Here's what you're looking for," she said, her voice dropping low. "Anything unusual. Anything that doesn't add up. Check his computer if you can. His phone. His office in the house. There's a locked drawer in his desk. I've never been able to open it. He says it's just work documents, but Emily, why would he lock work documents away from his own wife?" She grabbed my hands. Her palms were cold and clammy. "Promise me you'll be careful. If you find something bad, don't confront him. Just document it. Take pictures. And get out. I'll be staying at a hotel under a fake name. I'll check in with you every night at 10. If I don't hear from you, I'm calling the police." I squeezed her hands back. "I promise. I'll figure out what's going on." She pulled me into a hug. "Thank you," she breathed against my shoulder. "Thank you for believing me." And then she was gone, walking out of my apartment and into my life while I prepared to walk into hers. I spent the rest of that day transforming into Sarah. I studied every page in that folder until I could recite it backward. I practiced her handwriting, her signature, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, the way she laughed, light and polite, instead of my loud cackle. I put on her clothes, her perfume, her wedding ring. I looked in the mirror and saw my sister staring back at me. It was eerie. Like I was erasing myself, becoming someone else. And for the first time, I understood why Sarah felt so lost. Because when you spend every day being who someone else needs you to be, you forget who you actually are. That evening, I drove to Sarah's house in the suburbs. It was one of those beautiful colonial homes with white pillars and a wraparound porch. Christmas lights hung from the gutters, and there was a wreath on the front door with a big red bow. It looked like something out of a holiday movie. Picture perfect. The American dream. But as I parked in the driveway and grabbed my suitcase, I felt this creeping dread in my stomach. Because I knew that behind that perfect exterior, something was very wrong. I used Sarah's key to unlock the front door. The house smelled like pine and cinnamon. There was a Christmas tree in the living room, decorated with gold and silver ornaments. Garland wrapped around the staircase banister. Stockings hung over the fireplace. Everything was immaculate, spotless, like a showroom. And that's when Marcus walked in from the kitchen. "Hey, honey," he said with a smile. "You're home." I looked at him and felt my skin prickle. Marcus was handsome in that polished, corporate way. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair gelled back, expensive watch on his wrist. He was wearing a button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up and holding a glass of red wine. He looked like every other successful businessman in America. Normal. Safe. But there was something about his eyes. Something cold. Something that didn't quite match his smile. "Hi," I said, slipping into Sarah's voice, softer and more subdued than my own. "How was your day?" "Long," he said, crossing the room to kiss my cheek. I pulled some reports for the Henderson account. Boring stuff. "How about you? Get your shopping done?" I nodded, remembering that Sarah had written in the folder that she'd been Christmas shopping that day. "Most of it. Still need to wrap everything." He chuckled, always leaving it to the last minute. "You want some wine?" "Sure," I said. I followed him into the kitchen, my eyes scanning everything, looking for clues, looking for anything out of place. But everything was perfect. Too perfect. Marble countertops. Stainless steel appliances. Fresh flowers in a vase. It was the kind of kitchen you saw in magazines. The kind that didn't look lived in. Marcus poured me a glass of wine and handed it to me. "So I was thinking," he said casually, "maybe we should go over our life insurance policies this week. Just to make sure everything is up to date. With the new year coming and all." My heart skipped. Sarah had mentioned this. The way he kept bringing up insurance. I took a sip of wine to steady myself. "Sure," I said lightly. "We can do that." "Great," he said, and his smile widened. "Just want to make sure you're taken care of. You know, if anything ever happened to me." But the way he said it made it sound like he was talking about if anything happened to me. Not him. I forced a smile. "That's sweet of you." He moved closer, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. The same gesture Sarah did. Had he taught her that? Or had she always done it and he just noticed? "You've seemed distant lately," he said softly. "Is everything okay?" I looked into his eyes and tried to see what Sarah saw. The danger. The threat. But all I saw was a man who looked concerned. A man who seemed to care. And that's what made it so terrifying. Because monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like husbands. Sometimes they look like love. "I'm fine," I said. "Just tired. Busy week." He nodded slowly. "Well, let's have a quiet night then. I'll order Thai food. We can watch a movie. Relax." "Sounds perfect," I said. And that's how my first night in Sarah's life began. Eating takeout on the couch, watching some action movie Marcus picked, pretending to be the wife of a man I didn't trust. I laughed at his jokes. I leaned against his shoulder. I played the part. But the whole time, my mind was racing, cataloging, analyzing, watching the way he watched me, the way his hand rested on my knee just a little too tight, the way he checked his phone every 10 minutes and angled the screen away so I couldn't see. When we finally went to bed, Marcus kissed me goodnight and rolled over. Within minutes, he was snoring softly. But I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding, because I was in bed with a stranger, a man who might be planning to hurt my sister. And I had 6 more days to figure out what he was hiding. I waited until I was sure he was fully asleep. Then I carefully slipped out of bed and tiptoed into the hallway. The house was silent, dark. I made my way downstairs, avoiding the creaky step that Sarah had warned me about. I needed to start searching, to find that locked drawer, to find anything that would explain Sarah's fear. I went to Marcus's office. It was a small room off the living room with built-in bookshelves and a mahogany desk. Very masculine. Very professional. I closed the door quietly behind me and turned on the desk lamp. Then I started going through the drawers. The first two were unlocked, filled with boring work stuff. Contracts, spreadsheets, pens, notepads. Nothing suspicious. But the bottom right drawer was locked. I pulled on it, rattled it. It didn't budge. Sarah was right. Why would he lock a drawer in his own home office? What was he hiding? I looked around for a key but didn't find one. I made a mental note to search for it tomorrow. Then I turned off the lamp and crept back upstairs. Marcus was still asleep. I climbed into bed beside him, my pulse racing, and texted Sarah from under the covers. Day 1 complete. Locked drawer confirmed. We'll keep searching. Are you okay? 3 dots appeared. Then her response. I'm okay. Be careful. He's dangerous. I can feel it. I stared at her message. The words I can feel it. That's all she had. A feeling. An instinct. But sometimes instincts are the only warning we get. Sometimes our bodies know the truth before our minds catch up. And I was starting to understand why Sarah ran. Why she needed me here. Because living with that feeling every single day, that constant hum of danger, would drive anyone to the breaking point. I fell asleep that night with my phone clutched in my hand, ready to call for help if I needed to. Day 2 started the same as day 1. Wake up at 6. Make breakfast. Watch Marcus eat his eggs and read the news on his iPad. He was charming that morning. Chatty. He asked about my plans for the day, told me about a funny email from a coworker, kissed me goodbye before he left for work. It was so normal. So mundane. And that made it worse. Because I couldn't see the danger Sarah kept talking about. I couldn't see the threat. And I started to wonder if maybe she really was imagining it. If maybe the stress of her marriage had gotten to her and she was creating problems that weren't there. But then I found the first clue. After Marcus left, I decided to search the house more thoroughly. I went through closets, cabinets, drawers. I was looking for anything unusual. And in the back of Marcus's side of the closet, behind his perfectly organized rows of suits, I found a shoebox. Not a fancy shoebox. Just a plain brown Nike box. I pulled it out and opened it. Inside were photos. Dozens of them. Printed photos, the old-fashioned kind. And they were all of Sarah. Sarah at the grocery store. Sarah at the gym. Sarah getting coffee. Sarah in the front yard, pruning roses. Sarah through the bedroom window, getting dressed. My stomach turned. These weren't normal photos a husband would take of his wife. These were surveillance photos. Creepy, stalker-level photos. Some of them were taken from a distance with a zoom lens. Some were taken without her knowledge. And they were dated. Going back months. Maybe even a year. What kind of husband stalks his own wife? My hands were shaking as I put the box back exactly where I found it. I pulled out my phone and took pictures of the location, the box, everything. Then I texted Sarah. Found something. Photos of you. Surveillance style. Hidden in his closet. This isn't normal. Her response was immediate. Oh my God. I knew it. I knew something was wrong. Emily, please be careful. Don't let him know you found them. I won't, I typed back. But Sarah, why would he do this? You live with him. Why would he need to take photos of you like this? 3 dots. Then I don't know. That's what scares me. I spent the rest of that morning feeling sick. Looking at those photos changed everything. Because now I knew Sarah wasn't imagining things. Marcus was doing something. Watching her. Documenting her. But why? What was the end game? I kept thinking about the life insurance questions. The locked drawer. The surveillance photos. And I started to piece together a very dark picture. That afternoon, I decided to push a little. To see if I could get Marcus to reveal anything. When he came home from work, I was waiting in the living room with a cup of tea. I'd spent the afternoon rehearsing what I'd say, how I'd say it. I needed to sound like Sarah. Casual. Non-threatening. Just a wife asking innocent questions. "Hey," I said as he walked in. "Can I ask you something?" He loosened his tie and sat down beside me. "Of course. What's up?" "I've been thinking about our finances," I said carefully. "We never really talk about money. How much do we have saved? What's our net worth?" His expression shifted. Just slightly. A flash of something I couldn't quite read. "Why are you asking?" I shrugged. "I don't know. Just feeling like I should be more involved. We're partners, right? I should know these things." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "We're comfortable," he said. "You don't need to worry about money. I handle all that. But I want to know," I pressed. "Specifically, how much do we have?" His jaw tightened. "Sarah, we've talked about this. Money stresses you out. That's why I manage it. You focus on the house, on your hobbies, and I focus on keeping us financially secure. It works." His tone was condescending, patronizing, like he was talking to a child. And I felt this surge of anger on Sarah's behalf. How long had he been talking to her like this? How long had he been shutting her out of decisions about her own life? "I just think I should have access to our accounts," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Just in case something happens to you." "Nothing's going to happen to me," he said firmly. "And we have plenty of insurance for that. Remember? We just updated it." There it was again. Insurance. He brought it up constantly, like he was planting seeds, getting her used to thinking about death, about loss, about what would happen if. I nodded and changed the subject. But that night, after Marcus fell asleep, I snuck back into his office. I was more determined than ever to find out what was in that locked drawer. I searched everywhere for a key. Under the desk, in the other drawers, behind books on the shelves, in the pockets of his jackets. Nothing. Wherever he kept that key, it wasn't in the office. So I tried something else. I grabbed a paperclip from his desk, straightened it out, and tried to pick the lock. I'd watched enough YouTube videos to know the basics. And after about 20 minutes of fumbling in the dark, I heard a soft click. The drawer opened. Inside was a folder. A thick manila folder like the one Sarah had given me. I pulled it out and opened it, my hands trembling, and what I saw made my blood run cold. It was a dossier. On Sarah. Her full name, social security number, bank account information, medical records, copies of her birth certificate, her passport, her driver's license, photos of her, printed and organized by date, a list of her daily routines, her friends' names, the places she frequented. It was like something a private investigator would compile, or a stalker, or someone planning something very, very bad. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the document at the bottom of the folder. A life insurance policy for $2 million, with Sarah as the insured and Marcus as the sole beneficiary. And clipped to it was a handwritten note in Marcus's handwriting. It said policy active as of 6 months ago. Accidental death pays double. Clause expires December 31st. Handle before then. Handle before then. Handle what? Handle her? I felt bile rise in my throat. This wasn't just surveillance. This wasn't just control. This was a plan. Marcus was planning to kill my sister. And he'd set a deadline. December 31st. That was 9 days away. 9 days. And Sarah had no idea. She thought he was distant. Cold. Maybe having an affair. She had no idea her husband was planning her murder. I took pictures of everything. Every document. Every page. My hands were shaking so badly I had to retake some of them. Then I carefully put everything back in the folder, back in the drawer, and locked it again. I felt like I was going to throw up. I needed to tell Sarah. I needed to get her out. We needed to go to the police. No. Tonight. I ran upstairs and grabbed my phone from the nightstand. Marcus stirred in his sleep but didn't wake up. I went into the bathroom, locked the door, and called Sarah. She answered on the first ring. Emily? What's wrong? Sarah, I whispered, my voice shaking. You need to listen to me very carefully. Marcus is planning to kill you. I found a file, a whole dossier on you, and a life insurance policy for $2 million. There's a note that says handle before December 31st. Sarah, he's going to kill you in the next 9 days. Silence. Then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God. Oh my God, Emily. I knew it. I knew something was wrong, but I thought maybe I was being paranoid. I thought maybe. You're not paranoid, I cut her off. This is real. We need to go to the police right now. Tonight. No, she said quickly. No, we can't. We don't have enough evidence. Just documents and photos. His lawyers will say it's circumstantial. That I'm a paranoid wife going through a divorce. They'll twist it. Make me look crazy. Emily, we need more. We need to catch him in the act. We need him to confess or to try something. Something concrete that the police can't ignore. Sarah, that's insane. We're not waiting for him to try to kill you. He won't, she said. He thinks I'm gone. He thinks you're me. Emily, you have to stay there. You have to make him think you're me and see what he does next. If he tries anything, we'll have him. We'll have proof. We can send him to prison for attempted murder. My heart was racing. Sarah, no. This is too dangerous. What if he figures out I'm not you? What if he tries something and I can't stop him? You're smart, she said. You're stronger than I am. If anyone can do this, it's you. Please, Emily. I'm begging you. Give me 3 more days. 3 days to gather everything we need to make sure he never hurts anyone again. Can you do that? Can you be me for 3 more days? I closed my eyes. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to grab my keys and run, to get as far away from Marcus and this house as possible. But this was my sister, my twin, the person who knew me better than anyone in the world. And she was asking me to save her life. How could I say no? Okay, I whispered. 3 more days. But Sarah, if anything feels wrong, if he does anything that scares me, I'm out. I'm calling the police and I'm leaving. Deal, she said. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for being braver than I ever could be. We hung up, and I sat on the cold bathroom floor, my back against the door, trying to process what I'd just agreed to. I was going to stay in this house, with a man who was planning murder, and I was going to pretend to be his target. The person he was surveilling. The person he wanted dead. For 3 more days. 3 days until Christmas. And I had to make sure I survived. Day 3 was the hardest. Because now I knew the truth. And I had to look Marcus in the eye and pretend I didn't. I had to smile and laugh and make small talk while knowing he was counting down the days until he killed me. Or thought he was killing me. Every time he touched me, I flinched. Every time he smiled, I saw the calculation behind it. I started noticing things I'd missed before. The way he watched me. The way he stood too close. The way he'd ask questions that seemed innocent but were really him checking if I suspected anything. Are you feeling okay? You seem nervous. Is something bothering you? And I'd lie. I'd say I was fine. Just tired. Just stressed about the holidays. And he'd nod and say something like, "You work too hard, honey. You should relax. Maybe take a bath tonight. I got you that lavender bath oil you like." But the way he said it made my skin crawl. Like he was suggesting something. Like he was planning something. And I started to wonder if the bathtub was part of his plan. Slip and fall in the tub. Hit your head. Drown. Accidental death. It would look like an accident. No one would question it. And the insurance policy would pay double. I didn't take that bath. Instead, I spent the day searching for more evidence. I went through Marcus's emails while he was at work. I found correspondence with a divorce lawyer from 8 months ago. He'd been asking about asset division, about what he'd be entitled to in a divorce, about prenups. But then the email stopped. He never filed for divorce. Why? Because he realized he'd get more money if Sarah died than if they split up. That's why. He'd done the math. And murder was more profitable than divorce. I also found emails to a woman named Jenna. Flirty emails. Suggestive emails. Nothing explicit, but enough to confirm that Marcus was having an affair. They talked about meeting up. About leaving their spouses. About starting over together. One email from Jenna said, "Just a few more weeks, baby, and we can finally be together. Once everything is settled, we'll take that trip to Costa Rica and never look back. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you." Marcus had responded, "Me too. Soon, my love. Very soon. Just need to tie up some loose ends." Loose ends. He was calling my sister a loose end. I wanted to scream. I wanted to smash his computer. But I didn't. I took screenshots. I documented everything. And I waited. That night, Marcus suggested we have a nice dinner at home. He'd cook, he said. He'd make my favorite. I didn't even know what Sarah's favorite meal was, but I said that sounded great. I sat at the kitchen island and watched him move around the kitchen. Chopping vegetables. Searing chicken. Pouring wine. He was humming along to the Christmas music playing from the speaker. Smiling. So calm. So normal. Like he wasn't planning a murder. Like his wife wasn't a problem he was preparing to eliminate. He handed me a glass of wine. "To us," he said, clinking his glass against mine. "To us," I echoed, and I took the smallest sip possible. I didn't trust anything he gave me. I kept thinking about poison. About drugs. About how easy it would be for him to slip something into my drink and make it look like I had too much wine and fell or choked or stopped breathing. Dinner was tense. At least for me. Marcus talked about work, about Christmas plans, about maybe taking a vacation in January. Somewhere warm, he said. Wouldn't that be nice? Just the two of us. Beach. Sunshine. Relaxation. I nodded and pushed food around my plate. I barely ate anything. I said I had an upset stomach. And Marcus's expression flickered. Just for a second. Disappointment? Frustration? I couldn't tell. But he didn't push. He just cleared the plates and suggested we watch TV. We were halfway through some holiday movie when Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his whole demeanor changed. He stood up quickly. "I need to take this," he said. "Work emergency. I'll be in my office." He disappeared down the hall, and I sat there frozen. This was my chance. I needed to hear what he was saying, who he was talking to. I muted the TV and crept toward the office. The door was closed, but I could hear his voice through it. Low. Urgent. "I told you not to call me at home," he was saying. "No, it's fine. She's watching TV. She doesn't suspect anything. Yeah, everything is still on track. Christmas Eve. That's the plan. It'll look like an accident. I've been setting it up for months. No one will question it." My heart stopped. Christmas Eve. That was tomorrow night. He was planning to kill me tomorrow night. And he was talking to someone about it. Jenna? A partner? I pressed my ear closer to the door. "Don't worry," Marcus continued. "Once it's done, we're free. The insurance money will come through in a few weeks, and then we can disappear. Costa Rica like we planned. New identities. New life. It'll be perfect. Just trust me. I've thought of everything." He paused, listening, then laughed. A cold, cruel laugh that made my blood freeze. I know. I've been playing the part for years. The devoted husband. It's exhausting. But after tomorrow, I'll never have to pretend again. She'll be gone. And we'll have everything we ever wanted. I backed away from the door, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. He was really going to do it. Tomorrow. Christmas Eve. And he'd been planning it for years. Years of pretending to love my sister while secretly plotting her death. How had Sarah lived with this man? How had she not seen it? But then again, how could she? We see what we want to see. We believe what we want to believe. And Marcus was a good actor. He'd fooled everyone, including me at first. I ran back to the couch and unmuted the TV just as Marcus came out of his office. "Everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Yeah," he said, sitting back down beside me. "Just a client freaking out about year-end stuff. Nothing I can't handle." He put his arm around me, pulled me close, and I had to sit there, pressed against him, pretending I hadn't just heard him planning my murder. Pretending I wasn't terrified. Pretending I was his loving, trusting wife. It was the longest hour of my life. When we finally went to bed, I waited until Marcus was snoring. Then I texted Sarah. "Tomorrow night. Christmas Eve. He's planning to kill me tomorrow night." I heard him on the phone. "He's been planning this for years. Sarah, we need to call the police." "No. I can't do this anymore." Her response took a few minutes. Then, "Okay. Okay. Tomorrow morning we go to the police. Together. You pack a bag and leave the house first thing. Tell Marcus you're going Christmas shopping. Meet me at the station. We'll give them everything we have. All the photos, the documents, the recordings. It'll be enough. It has to be." I let out a shaky breath. "Okay. First thing tomorrow. I'm getting out of here." I've barely slept that night. I kept startling awake, convinced Marcus was standing over me with a pillow or a knife or something worse. But he just slept. Peacefully. Like a man with nothing to hide. And that made it so much worse. Day 4. Christmas Eve. The day Marcus planned to kill me. I woke up early and started packing a small bag. I told Marcus I was going to finish my Christmas shopping, that I'd be gone most of the day. He smiled and kissed my forehead and said, "Take your time, honey. Enjoy yourself." And the way he said it, so sweet, so caring, made my stomach turn, because I knew what he meant. Enjoy your last day alive. I left the house and drove straight to the police station. Sarah was already there, waiting in the parking lot. We hugged, and I could feel her shaking. Or maybe I was shaking. Maybe we both were. We went inside and asked to speak to a detective. They put us in a small interview room. And when the detective came in, a middle-aged woman named Detective Barnes, we told her everything. The phone call. The life swap. The surveillance photos. The locked drawer. The life insurance policy. The note about handling it before December 31st. The emails to Jenna. The phone conversation I'd overheard. Everything. Detective Barnes listened. Took notes. Asked questions. And when we were done, she looked at us with this expression I couldn't quite read. "Let me see if I understand this correctly," she said. "You two swapped lives for a week. You, Emily, have been living as Sarah. And you, Sarah, have been in hiding. And you believe Marcus is planning to kill Sarah. Tonight. On Christmas Eve." "Yes," I said. "That's exactly what we're saying. And you have evidence. Photos. Documents. Recordings." I pulled out my phone and showed her everything. The pictures of the surveillance photos. The pictures of the dossier. The insurance policy. The note. The screenshots of the emails with Jenna. Detective Barnes studied each image carefully. Her expression grew more serious with every swipe. "This is disturbing," she said finally. "But I need to be honest with you. Most of this is circumstantial. The surveillance photos are creepy, but not illegal for a husband to take photos of his wife. The life insurance policy, that's normal for married couples. The emails suggest an affair, which is terrible, but also not illegal. And the note, handle before then, that's vague. A defense attorney could argue it means handle the paperwork, handle the policy renewal, handle anything. But he said it on the phone, I protested. I heard him. He said Christmas Eve. He said it would look like an accident. He's planning to kill me tonight. Did you record the conversation? Detective Barnes asked. My heart sank. No. I didn't think to. I just listened through the door. So we have your word against his. And legally, you were eavesdropping on a private conversation in his own home. She leaned back in her chair and sighed. Look, I believe you. My gut tells me something is very wrong here. But to arrest someone, to charge them with conspiracy to commit murder, we need concrete evidence. Hard proof. A recorded confession. A weapon. A clear plan. Something that a prosecutor can take to court. What you have right now would get thrown out in 5 minutes. So what are we supposed to do? Sarah's voice cracked. Just wait for him to kill me? No, Detective Barnes said firmly. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up surveillance on your house. We'll have officers nearby tonight watching. If Marcus tries anything at all, we'll be there. We'll catch him in the act. And then we'll have everything we need to put him away. I felt a chill run through me. You want to use me as bait? Detective Barnes looked me straight in the eye. I know it's not ideal. I know it's scary. But, Emily, if you don't go back, Marcus will know something is wrong. He'll disappear. He'll cover his tracks. And he'll just try again later when Sarah least expects it. This might be our only chance to catch him and protect your sister for good. Sarah grabbed my hand. Emily, no. I'm not letting you do this. It's too dangerous. We'll figure out another way. But I looked at Detective Barnes and I knew she was right. If I didn't go back, Marcus would run. He'd get away with it. And Sarah would spend the rest of her life looking over her shoulder, waiting for him to strike. This was the only way to end it. The only way to make sure my sister was safe. I'll do it, I said. I'll go back. But you better have a lot of cops watching that house. Detective Barnes nodded. We will. I promise. And we'll wire you. You'll have a microphone on you at all times. If you feel threatened, if anything happens, just say the safe word and we'll storm in. What do you want the safe word to be? I thought for a moment. Mistletoe, I said. If I say mistletoe, come get me. Mistletoe it is, Detective Barnes said. She stood up. Let's get you wired. And Emily, thank you. What you're doing takes a lot of courage. Sarah hugged me tight. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry I got you into this. I pulled back and looked at her. You didn't get me into anything. Marcus did. And we're going to make sure he pays for it. An hour later, I was wired with a tiny microphone hidden under my shirt. Detective Barnes had explained the plan. I'd go back to the house. Act normal. See what Marcus did. If he tried anything, if he made any move that seemed dangerous, I'd say the safe word and the police would rush in. There would be at least 4 officers stationed around the property. Watching. Waiting. Ready. I drove back to Sarah's house with my hands gripping the steering wheel, so tight my knuckles were white. It was late afternoon. The sun was setting. Christmas lights were starting to twinkle on houses up and down the street. Everything looked so peaceful, so normal. But I knew what was waiting inside that house. A man who wanted me dead. A man who thought tonight was the night he'd finally get what he wanted. I parked in the driveway and took a deep breath. You can do this, I told myself. You're not alone. The police are watching. You're safe. Just act normal. Just be Sarah. I walked inside. Marcus was in the kitchen cooking. The smell of garlic and herbs filled the air. He looked up when I came in and smiled. Hey, you're back. I'm making my special Christmas Eve dinner. Your favorite. Lasagna. Smells amazing, I said, forcing a smile. What can I do to help? Just relax, he said. You've been running around all day. Pour yourself some wine. Sit. I've got this. I poured a glass of wine but didn't drink it. I sat at the kitchen island and watched Marcus cook. He was humming, smiling. chatting about his day, about how nice it was to have a quiet Christmas Eve at home. Just the two of us. No family. No drama. Just us. And I kept thinking, this is it. This is the night he's planning to kill me. How is he going to do it? Poison in the food? A staged accident? A fall down the stairs? I scanned the kitchen for weapons. For anything he could use. My eyes landed on the knife block. The heavy Le Creuset pot on the stove. The way he was standing between me and the door. Dinner was ready. Marcus plated the lasagna and brought it to the dining room table. He'd set it beautifully. Candles. Cloth napkins. Christmas music playing softly in the background. It looked romantic. Intimate. Like a scene from a movie. But all I could think was, this is where it happens. This is where he tries to kill me. We sat down. Marcus raised his wine glass. To us, he said. To our future. I clinked my glass against his but didn't drink. I picked up my fork and pushed the lasagna around my plate. I couldn't eat. My stomach was in knots. You're not eating, Marcus observed. Are you feeling okay? Just not very hungry, I said. I think I'm coming down with something. His eyes narrowed slightly. You should eat something. Keep your strength up. I took a tiny bite. Chewed. Swallowed. It tasted normal. But I kept thinking, is it poisoned? Did he put something in it? I glanced toward the kitchen, toward where I knew the police were watching from outside. Were they seeing this? Were they ready? Marcus kept talking about how grateful he was for me, for our marriage, for everything we'd built together. And his words were so sweet, so loving that if I didn't know better, I'd believe him. I'd think he was a devoted husband planning a romantic evening. But I knew the truth. And every word out of his mouth felt like a lie. After dinner, Marcus suggested we open presents. He led me into the living room where the Christmas tree glowed with lights. There were several wrapped boxes underneath. He handed me one. For you, he said. Open it. I tore off the wrapping paper. Inside was a jewelry box. I opened it. A diamond bracelet sparkled back at me. It was beautiful. Expensive. The kind of gift a husband gives a wife he loves. Or the kind of gift a guilty man gives before he kills her. It's gorgeous, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Try it on, Marcus said. He took the bracelet from the box and fastened it around my wrist. His fingers lingered on my skin. There. Perfect. You look perfect. He was standing so close. Too close. I could feel his breath on my neck. And suddenly the room felt smaller. Darker. My heart started racing. Was this it? Was this the moment? Marcus, I said, taking a step back. I need to use the restroom. Now. He frowned. Can it wait? I have another surprise for you. No, I said quickly. I really need to go. I'll be right back. I walked toward the hallway, my pulse pounding in my ears. Something was wrong. I could feel it. Marcus was acting strange. Too attentive. Too close. Like he was waiting for something. Planning something. I needed to check in with the police. I needed to make sure they were still there. I went into the bathroom and locked the door. I pulled out my phone to text Detective Barnes. But before I could, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Marcus's voice, low and cold. Sarah, I know you're in there. Come out. We need to talk. The way he said my sister's name made my skin crawl. There was no warmth in it. No love. Just ice. I texted Detective Barnes with shaking hands. Something is wrong. He knows. Get ready. Her response was immediate. We're here. Say the word and we come in. I took a deep breath and opened the bathroom door. Marcus was standing in the hallway, and the look on his face was different now. The mask was gone. The charming husband had disappeared. In his place was someone cold. Someone calculating. Someone dangerous. You've been acting strange all week, he said quietly. Little things. The way you make coffee. The way you laugh. The way you sleep. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But then I checked the cameras. Cameras? My blood went cold. I have cameras hidden all over this house, Marcus continued. Security. I installed them months ago. And I've been watching the footage. Watching you. And you're not Sarah, are you? My mind raced. He knew. He'd known this whole time. And I walked right into his trap. I don't know what you're talking about, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Don't lie to me, Marcus snapped. I know you're Emily. Sarah's twin. Which means Sarah knows everything. She sent you here to spy on me. To gather evidence. And I have to admit, it was clever. I almost didn't catch on. But you made one mistake. Last night, you slept on the left side of the bed. Sarah always sleeps on the right. Such a small detail. Such a tiny mistake. And it had given me away. Where is she? Marcus demanded. Where's Sarah? I'm not telling you anything, I said. Marcus smiled. A cold, cruel smile. It doesn't matter. I'll find her. And when I do, I'll finish what I started. But first, I need to deal with you. Because you've seen too much. You know too much. And I can't let you leave this house. He took a step toward me. I took a step back. My hand moved to my pocket, ready to pull out my phone. Ready to scream the safe word. But Marcus was faster. He lunged forward and grabbed my wrist. Hard. Painfully. I tried to pull away, but his grip was like iron. Let go of me, I shouted. Not a chance, he said. You're going to disappear tonight, Emily. Just like Sarah was supposed to. And everyone will think you ran away. Or had an accident. And no one will ever know the truth. He started dragging me toward the stairs. I fought back. Kicked. Scratched. Screamed. Mistletoe. I shouted. Mistletoe. Mistletoe. And suddenly there was a crash. The front door burst open. Police flooded into the house. Guns drawn. Voices shouting. Freeze. Get on the ground. Let her go. Marcus's eyes went wide. He shoved me away and I stumbled, hitting the wall. He tried to run, but the police were everywhere. They tackled him to the ground, cuffed him, read him his rights. And I just stood there, shaking, trying to process what had just happened. Detective Barnes rushed over to me. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? I'm okay, I managed to say. You got here just in time. We heard everything, she said. The wire worked perfectly. He confessed. He admitted to planning to kill Sarah. To trying to kill you. We have it all on tape. He's going away for a long time. I watched as they hauled Marcus out of the house. He was screaming, cursing, swearing he didn't mean it. That I'd misunderstood. That he'd never hurt anyone. But his words were empty. The evidence was overwhelming. The confession was clear. And there was no way out for him. Sarah arrived minutes later. She'd been waiting at the police station, listening to everything through the wire. When she saw me, she ran into my arms and we both collapsed onto the floor, crying, holding each other. Two sisters who just survived something horrific. Something unthinkable. It's over, I whispered. He's gone. You're safe now. Sarah sobbed into my shoulder. Thank you. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for being braver than I could ever be. We stayed like that for a long time. On the floor of her perfect house that had been hiding such darkness. And I thought about how we almost didn't make it. How one small mistake, sleeping on the wrong side of the bed, had nearly cost me my life. But it had also been our salvation. Because that mistake had made Marcus reveal himself. Had made him confess. Had given us the evidence we needed to stop him. The next few hours were a blur. Statements to the police. Paramedics checking us over. Crime scene investigators photographing everything. taking the wire, collecting evidence. They found more than we'd even known about. Marcus had detailed plans written out. Dates, methods, backup plans if the first attempt failed. He'd been plotting Sarah's murder for over a year. Ever since he'd met Jenna and decided he wanted a new life. A life without his wife. A life funded by her death. They also found text messages between Marcus and Jenna. Messages where they talked about the plan. Where Jenna encouraged him. Where she said things like, "Just do it already. I'm tired of waiting, and $2 million is worth a little risk." So Jenna was arrested too. Charged as an accomplice. Both of them would stand trial. Both of them would go to prison. Christmas morning arrived while we were still at the police station. The sun came up over a world that looked different than it had the day before. Sarah was free. I was safe. And Marcus was behind bars where he belonged. We went back to my tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn. Sarah said she never wanted to see that house again. She'd put it up for sale. Start over somewhere new. Somewhere without memories of him. And for now, she'd stay with me. We'd figure out the rest later. We spent Christmas Day curled up on my couch, drinking hot chocolate, watching old movies, and just being together. Being sisters. Being survivors. And as I looked at Sarah, I saw something I hadn't seen in years. A lightness in her eyes. A freedom. She was smiling. Really smiling. Not the polite, careful smile she'd worn as Marcus's wife, but the real, genuine smile I remembered from when we were kids. "You know what's crazy?" Sarah said. "I thought I was losing my mind. I thought maybe I was making it all up. That I was paranoid and anxious and seeing threats that weren't there. But I wasn't. My instincts were right. My gut was screaming at me that something was wrong. And I almost ignored it. I almost talked myself out of it. Never ignore your gut," I said. "It knows things your brain hasn't figured out yet." She nodded. "I'll never ignore it again. And I'll never let someone make me feel crazy for trusting myself." We talked for hours. About Marcus. About the red flags she'd missed. The ways he'd isolated her. Controlled her. Made her doubt herself. It was textbook abuse. Textbook manipulation. And she'd been living in it for so long that it had started to feel normal. That's the scary thing about abuse. It creeps up slowly. It normalizes itself. Until one day you wake up and realize you're living in a nightmare, but you can't remember when it started. Sarah also told me about the early days with Marcus. How charming he'd been. How perfect. How he'd swept her off her feet with expensive dates and romantic gestures and promises of forever. He'd love-bombed her. Made her feel like the most special person in the world. And then, after they got married, things changed. Slowly at first. He started commenting on her weight. Her clothes. Her friends. He suggested she quit her job because he made enough money for both of them. He told her she didn't need to worry about finances, he'd handle everything. And piece by piece, he'd taken away her independence. Her autonomy. Her power. Until she was trapped in a golden cage with no way out. Except she found a way out. She trusted her instincts. She asked for help. And she survived. The trial happened 6 months later. Marcus and Jenna both pleaded not guilty despite the overwhelming evidence against them. They tried to claim it was all a misunderstanding. That the notes were about something else. That the surveillance was just Marcus being a protective husband. That the life insurance was normal. But the prosecution played the recording from The Wire. The recording where Marcus confessed to everything. Where he admitted to planning Sarah's murder. Where he tried to kill me. And the jury didn't even need a full day to deliberate. Guilty on all counts. Marcus got 25 years to life. Jenna got 15 years as an accomplice. Sarah and I were in the courtroom when the verdict was read. And when the judge said guilty, Sarah grabbed my hand and squeezed it, so tight I thought she'd break my fingers. We didn't cheer. We didn't celebrate. We just sat there, letting the weight of it all sink in. Justice. Finally. After everything, there was justice. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. They wanted interviews. They wanted the story. Twin sisters swap lives and uncover murder plot. It was sensational. The kind of story that makes headlines. But we didn't talk to them. We just walked away. Because this wasn't entertainment. This wasn't a movie. This was our real life. Our trauma. Our survival. And we didn't know anyone the details. Sarah rebuilt her life slowly. She went to therapy. She sold the house and bought a small condo in the city close to me. She went back to school and got her master's degree in social work. She wanted to help other women in abusive relationships. Other women who felt trapped. Who felt crazy. Who needed someone to believe them. And she's amazing at it. She's helped dozens of women escape. Dozens of women find their voice. Find their strength. Find their freedom. As for me, I learned something important through all of this. I learned that instincts matter. That when something feels wrong, it probably is. I learned that love should never make you feel small or scared or controlled. I learned that the people closest to us can sometimes be the most dangerous. And I learned that family, real family, will risk everything to protect you. I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. That I can walk into danger and come out the other side. That I can stare down a killer and survive. And that strength isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing it anyway. Sarah and I are closer now than we've ever been. We talk every day. We spend holidays together. We laugh about the ridiculous things and cry about the hard things, and we never, ever take each other for granted. Because we know how easily we could have lost each other. How close we came to that ending. Sometimes people ask us if we'd do it again. If we'd swap lives again if we had to. And the answer is yes. Without hesitation. Because that's what sisters do. That's what love does. It shows up. It fights. It risks everything. And it doesn't back down. There's a quote I think about a lot. It says she believed she could, so she did. But I think the real version is she was terrified, but she did it anyway. Because that's the truth. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's fear walking forward. It's shaking hands and racing hearts and doing the hard thing, even when every instinct tells you to run. And if you're in a situation like Sarah was, if something feels wrong in your relationship, if someone is making you doubt yourself, if you feel controlled or watched or afraid, please listen to that feeling. Please reach out for help. Tell someone you trust. Call a hotline. Make a plan. Because you deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel free. You deserve a love that lifts you up, not one that tears you down. Your gut is trying to protect you. Your instincts are trying to save you. Don't ignore them. Don't talk yourself out of them. Don't let anyone convince you that you're overreacting or being paranoid or imagining things. Trust yourself. Believe yourself. And get out before it's too late. Sarah almost didn't make it. But she listened to her gut. She asked for help. And she survived. And if she can do it, so can you. I promise you, there's a life waiting for you on the other side of fear. A life where you're free. Where you're safe. Where you're loved the way you deserve to be loved. And it's worth fighting for. It's been 2 years now since that Christmas Eve. 2 years since I swapped lives with my sister and uncovered the dark secret that almost killed her. And our lives look completely different now. Better. Lighter. Fuller. We spent this past Christmas together in my apartment, cooking dinner, watching movies, laughing until our stomachs hurt. And as we clinked our glasses of sparkling cider together at midnight, Sarah said something I'll never forget. She said, "Thank you for seeing me. For believing me. For saving me." And I said, "You saved yourself, Sarah. You trusted your gut. You asked for help. You survived. I just walked beside you." She smiled. then we survived together. And that's the truth. We survived together. Two sisters. Two halves of the same whole. Stronger together than we ever could have been apart. So here's what I want you to take from this story. 3 things. 3 lessons that might just save your life one day. First, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your gut knows things your brain hasn't processed yet. Don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it away. Listen to it. Second, ask for help. You don't have to face danger alone. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. Reach out to someone you trust. Call the police. Call a hotline. Tell someone what's happening. Because there are people who want to help you. People who will believe you. People who will fight for you. And third, you are stronger than you think. You can survive things you never thought you'd have to face. You can walk through fire and come out the other side. You can do hard things. Scary things. Impossible things. Because you're not just surviving. You're fighting. You're resisting. You're refusing to be a victim. And that makes you powerful. Sarah thought she was weak. She thought she was broken. She thought she needed me to save her. But the truth is, she saved herself. She made the call. She asked for help. She set the whole thing in motion. And that took more courage than anything I did. Because asking for help when you're drowning is the hardest, bravest thing you can do. So if you're drowning right now, if you're in a relationship that feels dangerous, if you're scared or controlled or trapped, please ask for help. Please reach out. Please don't wait until it's too late. Because you matter. Your life matters. And you deserve to be safe. I'm sitting here in my apartment right now, 2 years later, and Sarah is in the kitchen making us hot chocolate. She's humming Christmas carols even though it's summer. She's wearing a t-shirt that says "Nevertheless she persisted." And she's smiling. Really smiling. And I think about how close we came to losing this. To losing her. To losing us. And I'm so grateful. So incredibly grateful that she listened to her gut. That she trusted herself. That she asked me to swap lives with her and help her uncover the truth. Because the truth set her free. And it almost killed me. But we made it. We survived. And now we're here. Living our lives. Thriving. Growing. Healing. And if I can leave you with one final thought, it's this. The people who are supposed to love you should never make you afraid. Love doesn't control. Love doesn't isolate. Love doesn't threaten or manipulate or gaslight. Real love lifts you up. Real love wants you to thrive. Real love makes you feel safe. If your love feels like fear, it's not love. It's something else. Something darker. And you deserve better. You deserve real love. The kind that sees you, believes you, protects you. And if you don't have that right now, please know that it's out there. It exists. And you can find it. But first, you have to survive. You have to get out. You have to choose yourself. Choose yourself. Every single time. Even when it's hard. Even when it's scary. Even when people try to convince you that you're wrong or crazy or overreacting. Choose yourself. Trust yourself. Save yourself. Because you're worth it. You're worth fighting for. You're worth saving. And if no one has told you that lately, let me be the one to say it. You matter. Your life matters. Your safety matters. Your freedom matters. And you deserve all of it. Don't settle for anything less. This is the story of how I swapped lives with my sister and exposed her husband's dark secret. But more than that, it's a story about survival. About sisterhood. About trusting your gut and asking for help and refusing to be a victim. It's a story about 2 women who fought back. Who didn't give up. Who made it to the other side. And if we can do it, so can you. I believe in you. Sarah believes in you. And we're rooting for you. Wherever you are. Whatever you're facing. You've got this. You're stronger than you know. Braver than you think. And you're not alone. never alone. So if you're watching this video right now, if you made it all the way to the end, I want you to do something for me. I want you to tell me where you are and what time it is. Drop it in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know you heard this story. Let me know you're thinking about it. Because community matters. Connection matters. And knowing that we're not alone in this world, that makes all the difference. Tell me where you are. Tell me what time it is. Tell me if this story resonated with you. If it scared you. If it inspired you. If it made you think about your own life, your own relationships, your own instincts. I want to hear from you. I want to know that this mattered. And if this story helped you in any way, if it opened your eyes or validated your feelings or gave you courage, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to this channel. Because we're going to keep telling stories like this. Stories that matter. Stories that might just save someone's life. And I don't want you to miss them. Next week, I'm going to tell you about the time I discovered my best friend was living a double life. And trust me, that story is going to blow your mind. You won't want to miss it. So subscribe. Turn on notifications. And I'll see you in the next video. But until then, remember this. Trust your gut. Ask for help. And know that you are so much stronger than you think. You can survive anything. You can overcome anything. And you are never, ever alone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being here. You matter. Don't ever forget that. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you soon.